Stage 1, pressing for flight.
Launch reactor on countdown 1. We are go for launch.
Yes, sir. Reading you loud and clear. Clear. The clock has started.
The clock has started.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome to Pressing for Flight, live from the Space Coast, where the schedule never holds. I'm your host, Stephen Marr, and with me tonight we have Stephen Mr. Kegel.
Hello, all.
In the worm hat. You'll see that worm
my favorite
fly.
hat. Eventually.
Next to him we have Matthew Mr. Jordan.
So, dudes and dudettes?
We also have Matt Mr. Cutshaw.
What up?
Becca Mr. Penland.
Great to be here.
And I think one of the most determined and persistent port stalkers that there is. The guy that is there sometimes when no one else is there. Mr. Kyle Montgomery.
Hello.
Yes, excellent with the cheering. So I wanted to get you on because we just had a booster return, and I mean, they're all kind of the same, but I was able to be there for a bunch of it, and we were able to hang out. You know, you were there, and Greg Scott, and Ken Kramer, and Teresa.
Ken Kramer?
Other people. I mean, on day one, you had, everybody. It's a who's who. On day one, it's a who's who. You get, John Krause and Richard Engel and everybody. But I thought that it would be fun to kind of go through the process with someone that's seen it a bunch and photographed it a bunch. You're kind of one of those people that live tweets these booster returns and the operations. But before we do, I don't know if you guys are looking at my screen right now, but look at this photo that Port Canaveral posted earlier today. This old photo from 1961. And you can actually kind of make out you can make out some major differences, right?
Major?
Like there's no infrastructure over here on this side. The jetty is there. I don't know if the actual pier is there, but those are at least the rocks, of course. And I'm guessing, this is Jetty Park. Obviously that's where Jetty Park is. But the layout of that road, that looks very familiar. So I don't know how long Jetty Park's been there, but one of the things that stood out to me was look at over here. I know this is kind of weird, but that looks like a hard left turn to get on 528 and go over the bridge, right? You know how now it's it's kind of like a big interchange. And now, or here it looks like it's like A1A just cruising, and then it must be like a slow road, like 30 miles an hour, and then like probably a stop sign, and then you turn. Whereas now it's like you're flying.
A1A used to go.
Huh?
A1A used to go into the base.
Oh, really? Wait, like over the?
Yeah,
I guess
and then
this
they got
channel
cut off, and then there's a road called Old A1A because of that.
Oh, okay. See, I've looked on the map, and
before they brought the property.
The A1A goes all the way up the coast of Florida, right? Does it go all the way, basically, or most of the way? Because
I'm not sure exactly where it is, but I know it goes into base like that.
Yeah, because
yes, A1A goes all the way up the coast.
Yeah, it's just broken into pieces. I wonder when they actually dug this. It seems just unreal that they can dig this, and maybe I just showing how dumb I am, but this is really impressive to me that they can just dig this out and bam, we've got ourselves a port.
You want somebody to look dumber?
Yeah, go ahead.
Point out literally anything to me in that picture. I don't understand any of it.
Oh, okay. Well, this is.
You see, that's water.
Where?
So what? So we're looking
the lighter gray.
We're looking from the ocean back towards land, and the camera is north of the port. So this is the beach at Jetty Park, and this would be where the pier is at. The pier at Jetty Park.
Okay, I've never been to Jetty Park, so maybe that's why I can't.
Okay, yeah. Okay, well, here, you live that way, over there, down there. This will be A1A, and so this going that way is south.
Are you pointing at something? Because I can't.
You can't see my mouse?
Yeah, I don't see it pointing either.
No, we don't see your mouse position.
Oh, I thought y'all could see my mouse. Okay, well, I don't know.
You can't draw on the screen at all.
Yeah.
Um,
It's time for a
I
graph.
see your mouse on the screen.
okay, well the left side of the screen is south,
Okay.
so that's going towards Cocoa Beach that way, and then this is 528. I'm using my mouse again. Now the people in the stream, they can see it. I'm pretty sure.
Well, good for them.
Yeah.
They probably already know.
Oh yeah, I just looked.
Okay,
Yeah,
so the road up the middle is 528.
yeah, 528 to go across to Merritt Island over the Banana River. And let's see, at that like right around that corner. Well, shoot, I can't like point. The left side where the water stops, there's like the like some rocks jut out, or there's a pier. I can't tell if it's actually the pier there, but kind of a little above that would be where the Holiday Inn is now. I don't know. We're spending more time on this than I had anticipated. I just think it's a really cool photo.
It looks like Jetty Park opened in 1986.
Oh, okay. Well, then I wonder what this was used for back then.
Wow.
Because it's definitely
It was probably a public beach.
Yeah.
there's definitely straight lines, So it's definitely made for something.
Yeah, that's man-made.
Yeah. Okay, so as you guys may know, let's see, it was the 22nd, last Wednesday, that Starlink launched, and it took them a little bit longer to get back. Of course, the booster landed on Of Course I Still Love You. Took a little bit longer to get back because of the rough seas. There was a lot of kind of like, we all looked to Gavin and Julia to kind of help us figure out, when is the appropriate time to go to the port and see the booster come back. And it was getting a little difficult for them because they kept speeding up and slowing down and everything. Finally came in early Sunday morning. I had an alarm set for 5. And I was like, I'll just set the alarm for 5 o'clock. I'll wake up. I'll check with Gavin because I know that he'd be up because he's across the pond. He's actually in UTC time. So when you see UTC time, that's what time it is for Gavin. I ended up waking up at like 3:30 and just checked the phone, whatever. Ended up waking up. I was like, screw it. I'm just going to go on up there. And I'm glad that I did because I was able to start my time lapse super early with a nice little sunrise. So if you listen to the show in just an audio form, well, you're missing this part.
You're missing cruise ships in the sun.
And during this time, I am swatting these little, they looked like flying ants, but that's not what they were. But they were not mosquitoes, and they weren't no-see-ums. But right as the daylight started to break, they were just all over everything, all over like my camera bag, getting inside it. It was like a swarming type bug, and it was. It makes for kind of a miserable time whenever you're trying to focus on photography, and especially when the sun's coming up and you're doing a time lapse, you've got to constantly adjust the shutter speed. Do you do that, Kyle? Do you ever do sunsets and sunrises and stuff?
I've always just done it on program and then done the ISO accordingly. Like anytime during the day, ISO 100.
Mm-hmm.
It starts getting dark, I lower the ISO a little bit. And if it's straight up night, I'll do it fully manually.
Yeah. Well, maybe this will help you up your game. There's a program called LR Time Lapse that I use. Oh, here, by the way, let me stop right here. This is the scene right here where I was saying it's kind of a who's who. You've got there's Ken, there's John Krause. Here I am pointing with my mouse again, and it doesn't matter for you guys. But the guy in the orange shirt, I see him up there all the time, and I've not caught his name. Have you?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure who he is either.
He's there all the time, and I don't know if he shoots for anybody. He doesn't usually say much. I've talked to him a couple times, but I don't know his name. But anyway, there's this thing called LR Time Lapse. It'll help you smooth out those changes. You know how as the sun's coming up or going down, you constantly have to change your exposure. LR Time Lapse is built for that. to take those exposure changes and smooth it out. You know, it'll recognize where those changes were, and it'll either, you know, bring the exposure up or down in like a gradient to try to help smooth that out, and it actually works really good. And you know, this is an example of I was doing that. I was constantly changing my shutter speed during this. Let's see. So I just wanted to run through these time lapses, and then we'll kind of go into a little more detail. So this was actually Tuesday. So it came in Sunday morning. They didn't do anything Sunday or Monday that I know of. Maybe Kyle knows different, but let's check this out first.
They made an attempt of sorts. They had to stop trying though.
That's right, because Monday it was crazy windy. So I actually missed the part where they lifted it up off the barge. Someone's going to say something. I called it a barge. But it was weird because they had lifted it up and then set it down and then lifted it again. And that was what you just saw, where I caught them lifting it again. And then this is where they're setting it down on the stands. And then leading up to folding up the legs.
Busy bees, those guys.
The cherry picker that went all the way up to the top.
Yeah. We were like, what are they doing? Are they going to, like, we thought they might start taking the grid fins off. But it looked like they
That
were
would
just...
be the scariest cherry picker ride ever.
Dude. I mean, I'm surprised that they can go that high and still have stability. You know, I mean, they were up there at the grid fins, at least. Like, they were on the back side, so we couldn't really see. But this was really cool to me because I think this is the first time I've got to see them fold the legs up successfully. I've seen them, you know, work with the legs and stuff, but I don't think I've ever seen them actually get it in place. And there goes the workbench for Giants.
Now, are the cranes they're using? I haven't been out there, so I don't really know. The cranes they're using are built into the port there.
No, they're leased.
So they bring those in just to do this.
They just sit there all day, every day.
Yeah.
I mean, they live there.
Yeah.
The gray one is the gray one right there up top that has the cap.
Mhm.
That one's permanently
Yeah,
there.
okay.
But it is
Well,
mobile.
it's still mobile.
Yeah, it's got tires. I wonder if any of
Yeah,
our photos.
Does it have tires or is it on railroad
No,
tracks?
it's-
Because a lot of old
No,
shipyards
it's
use railroad
tires.
tracks.
Yeah, it's tires. I've been kind of close to it. Delivering pizza, we go on the north side, and there's been times that it's parked kind of close to where the road goes, and that thing is massive, but it's rubber tires.
I think they rent it from like a local company, like was it Bays?
The big one?
Yeah.
Port Canaveral owns that, I'm pretty sure. Like they made kind of a big deal out of it when they brought that here.
Oh no! Oh, sorry, not the one red and white, but the other.
I mean, I'm surprised they didn't make something that like the drone ship itself could drive underneath the crane, and then the crane's just right there and grabs it.
Yeah, I mean they've got the big ones, you know, the two big the fixed cranes, the cargo cranes. I'm gonna show Kyle's picking up where mine left off. I had to leave because I knew that if I didn't at that time, I wouldn't even get that video out that night, and then I had to work the next day. So I left with two legs up, and Kyle stuck it out through the whole thing.
Yeah, it took me like a day later to get this video up though. So
yeah, let's talk numbers here. Let's talk numbers. What are you working with here? I only had 3,520 photos, which amounted to 45 gigs. What do you got? What do you got? Hit me.
it was like 9,500 or something like that, and it was like 212 gigabytes.
Dang.
The import alone took like an hour or two.
Yeah. I don't even think I don't. With all my SD cards, I only have one per camera, and then like one really crappy one I bought years ago as like a backup just in case. I don't have that much storage. I don't have 200 gigs of storage in my SD cards.
Well, I didn't either. I ended up having to borrow a card.
Oh, did you?
Dang.
Yeah, so I went through a 120 gig card first, and then I took a 64 gigabyte card that was in the 70D that I was actively shooting with. That had about half the storage left, filled the rest of that up, and then I had to borrow a card from Teresa, and I almost filled that up, but I ended up with enough room left on that, and that's where I left off.
Mm-hmm.
And then on my 70D, I was swapping in and out 4 and 2 gigabyte cards because I didn't add everything else dedicated to the time lapse.
4 and 2 gigabyte. You have 4 and 2 gigabyte cards.
Yeah, the one card is from the Wii.
This guy, he's down to basics.
Wow.
You might want to check out Amazon. They do have several different varieties of.
Here, I'll see if you can see it.
There it is.
Wii.
Oh,
that
SanDisk
is
for
for the
Wii. Absolutely for the Wii.
I'm surprised it worked.
Oh, let's see. I wanna test chat there.
Oh,
See,
it buffered like crazy.
I want to see how much they were paying attention. Oh man, they're getting busy in chat. Did anybody notice? And Kyle, and everybody, I don't know. You guys probably didn't notice. I know that when you guys are watching my shared screen, it's really choppy, so you probably couldn't see it anyway. But did anybody see what other fleet members, the SpaceX fleet members, drifted through the frame in these time lapses? Because I know Kyle knows, right? Kyle was there. We were getting shots of the other because they moved a couple others around. Did you guys catch who else passed through the frame? And I know it'll take a while to.
I
I thought I saw a cruise ship.
Yeah, there was a cruise ship that went through.
I saw Go Navigator.
Wait,
There were people on that cruise ship.
Shh. Go Navigator
talking
was
about the SpaceX chips.
the easy one. Yeah. Harry
got it in there.
Harry got Go Navigator. There was one more that I don't know about yours, but in mine it was like 2 frames. It definitely scooted through the frame much quicker. But anyway, I wanted to let's go through the photos. So, man, booster return is super exciting. You know, once you've determined when you're going to go out, and it's obvious that that they're getting close to the port and everything. You get set up in your spot, and if you've been out there before for it, you kind of know what to expect. Got a nice little shot of the sun there. That's nice. A little bird. He probably chose this one because it had a bird. Rule number 1 when you're taking photos: if you have multiple photos and one of them has a bird in it, that's the one you use.
Use the bird.
Always use the bird.
Birds are good luck.
I didn't even know there was a bird in that shot.
Oh, okay. There's a bird in this one too, by the way.
It adds action and drama to the shot.
Right.
Bird is the word.
And I think I'm gonna guess that you were at the park between Gators and Rusty's here, right? This is that boat that
The pavilion spot. I usually call it
the pavilion
that
spot.
grassy field.
Yeah, because this is Orlando Princess right here, isn't it?
Yeah,
Let me
one of them.
Let me actually pull up Google Maps. I can show people that maybe don't know the layout here of Port Canaveral, so we can kind of show them where we go. And
Becca's gonna get a lesson right now.
always.
I already know what it looks like now. I just couldn't tell in the past.
All right, yeah. So Port Canaveral, yeah. I'm sure if you're a fan of SpaceX, you've at least looked at Port Canaveral, but you may not know like where the photographers go to shoot this stuff. So Gators is here.
Where we get our sunburn.
And actually, you can see that I'm mousing over it because you can see the color change. You can't see my mouse, but you can see it. Yes, this is where we get our sunburns.
Oh, hey, Steve, if you zoom out
Uh-huh.
to see A1A
Uh-huh.
and 528, I think the original path, remember you look at that map?
Yeah.
So it went towards the port or towards Jetty Park, that road.
Oh,
and then
like to here.
Ridgewood, not Ridgewood, but what's Astronaut?
well, this is Astronaut, but yeah, this is North Atlantic becomes this right here.
Yeah, so Astronaut I think was A1A.
No, actually, what I think it was,
Right.
I think that where that split is, that is the old path that A1A took.
Yeah,
I think that's
that's
why.
what I'm saying. So it went straight to man, I can't.
To
I don't. I'm not out
George
there enough
King.
anymore. I can't remember that. Yeah, George King.
George King,
to whatever the other road.
and
is.
then goes out this way. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't think this is Astronaut Boulevard.
I don't think that existed.
I don't think
at
it
that
did
time.
either. Okay, so let's see. North Cargo Pier 6. That's what you call where SpaceX parks. That's this area right here. And wow, are these that far apart? The two fixed cranes, are they really that far apart? They really seem like they're right next to each other.
I think they slide back and forth. They
Oh,
can
okay.
meet
Yeah,
up to each other.
All right, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, if you look at it, you can see the track where the wheels go to slide back and forth.
Sorry.
Yeah, I wonder what the date on this picture is.
Yeah, sorry, y'all. It was kind of a tangent. Like, what? Let me see. Oh, okay. Yeah. There's the track right there. Okay. Well, that's interesting. All right. So yeah, this is where Kyle was. This little park right here. There's some new trees going in, y'all. Don't worry. They got some shade coming. And here in about,
or at least holes. We don't know there's trees going there for certain.
we have holes now. Yeah, and well, there's some new trees here. And as of a couple days ago, because we were there on Sunday and Monday, and there were no holes, and now there are holes. Right.
Tree holes.
Tree holes.
The planted trees were there as of the launch, at least.
Yeah, the planted trees have been there for a little bit, but these holes are brand spanking new.
Yeah.
But this is kind of the go-to spot. Of course, when the booster first comes in, most everybody is down at Jetty Park. But once it passes Jetty Park, you actually have enough time to get to your car and get down here, and then most people hang out here at the port, and it's always fun because like everybody goes. You know, it's like a party.
It's a meetup.
It's like a reunion. Yeah. And
so much to bring cake.
Cake?
Yeah. So much to bring some.
Well, I was gonna say Julia brings cookies. I'm not sure she's ever brought cookies to the booster arrival. I'm sure that would be in order. Okay, yeah, so that's where we watched from. That's where he was. What am I doing? I'm back here. Okay. Yeah, that's where this photo was taken right there. And because that's where Orlando Princess parks.
Yeah, right on the fence of Gators, basically. Because, you can, like, go over there and then lean farther. They get the shots farther out.
Yeah. And Gators is closed right now. So we've been parking at Gators. Don't tell them. But once they open back up, that kind of is going to have to stop because they don't like us taking up their parking because they are a business. And I totally understand that. Back to the photos. All right. Usually, the first thing you see, the first sign you have that they're almost home is you see the Tugs go out, and these are definitely some typical Tugs. Elizabeth S. Is usually helping, and actually, I'm not sure who this is.
Christine, I believe.
Oh, Christine. Yeah, Christine helps a lot too. They usually go out and they'll meet them right at the end of the channel. Zoom out here. They'll go and park right by Jetty Park, and if you're out here on the pier, you're usually right in line with them because they're usually parked right here, just waiting for whatever tug is towing. Of course, I Still Love You, and once they get there, the tug with Of Course I Still Love You. This time it was Finn Falgot, and usually recently it's been Hawk, but they don't like stop or anything. The tugs here, they just once it passes them, they just kind of spin around and just kind of keep the pace, and they're going slow enough that it did surprise me at first. Now it's kind of part of the ritual, but like at first I was like surprised that I could get in my car and drive all the way down here and still beat the booster. Like you can even
beat the fairing catchers doing that.
Oh really?
It's a little bit closer, but you can definitely still beat them. I've done it before. You don't even need the speed.
Yeah.
I mean, their speed is limited in that basin. That'd be limited to like 5
speed limits.
Yeah.
No wake zone.
Yeah. So these are the tugs that help out. These tugs live here, and they do all kinds of stuff around the port, but they are usually enlisted to help. They're just there to, in case the drone ship gets a little squirrely, they're there to just kind of keep it in line. GoQuest is typically the first one in. They do crew transfer. That's the thing that like we kind of wait for Julia or Gavin or somebody to be like, all right, crew transfer is done, and then we know that it's starting. It's all starting. And GoQuest is always.
One time I got pictures of it.
Oh yeah, that's right. And I think you're the only one, right? I think you're the only one to ever get a
Julia's gotten pictures of it doing it outside where they're not very clear, but I'm the only one who's gotten pictures inside the port.
Oh, okay. GoQuest comes back first. That's kind of the unsung hero, but definitely the veteran of the fleet. The first ship, right? If I'm remembering, I get all my information from Julia. But
there's a chance NCR Quest beats it, but I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Well, is NCR Quest even still part of the fleet now? Are they going to keep them?
Yeah.
kind of on deck just in
Yeah,
case?
it was rehauled a little bit ago, so I'm not quite sure what's happening with that at all, really.
So to backpedal here real quick, how does crew transfer actually work? Do they like just drive up next to the drone ship and then just like hop on it, or how does that work?
Yes, that's actually exactly how that process works.
Yeah. There's actually a staircase. Well, there it is right here. You see this staircase on the back of GoQuest?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's what they're using. They just back that staircase right up to the drone ship, and yeah, I've never seen it. I've never looked either. I'm guessing the 600 millimeter. If they're close enough, I could see it. But
or could be a diving board when they're bored.
Oh,
Probably.
Just go up, jump off the back of the boat.
They make sure to take it off like before they get back to port. But as soon as they get to international waters, they just bolt that thing on there. They get out to the middle of the ocean and start doing.
Well, where did they meet the drone ship?
It's a little closer than Horizon.
All right, a little closer than the Horizon, so probably
as far
about
as
10
crew
miles
transfer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Horizon, if you're standing at the water, is like 3 miles. If you're up, obviously it goes up. Wait, what do you got?
It's the picture of the crew transfer that Gavin reposted.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
It was the easiest way to find it. He just click on the picture and then you'll be able to see it. I have more pictures than that, but you can see like they're going up that little thing and then they kind of like swing over.
Oh, very
or something
cool.
like that.
I don't think I ever
So like they're
saw
always
this.
strapped in so they don't get smushed.
God.
OSHA.
Oh, man. That's such a terrifying idea.
Actually, that terrifies me less than going up in a very tall cherry picker.
Yeah.
This I've done. This is the same thing we do with like a submarine, like doing a transfer of personnel at sea.
Yeah. That's really cool, man. I don't think I ever saw that. I saw one that was like far off, like close to the horizon. It was like, oh, there it is. But I never saw this one, dude. That's awesome. I was going to just say GoQuest, the purpose of GoQuest is sort of like where the crew lives when they're out at sea. I'm sure they have a lot of other little functions, navigation and stuff, but that's, and they also, there's been a couple of videos that have come out from GoQuest of landings. I want to say I've seen like 1 or 2 of the booster landing like over the horizon. Because once they get the drone ship in position, they get, I guess, about 3 or 4 miles because they're just over the horizon from the drone ship. And that way, if anything goes bad, then they're not so close that they're in danger.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, you kind of want to do that. But yeah, that's where they live. GoQuest. Also, if you remember from DM1, whenever Dragon splashed down and there was footage of the fast boats going out to the capsule, that footage I'm pretty sure was taken from GoQuest. Yeah. So you never get to see GoQuest in the footage, and I think I've heard some people speculate that might be why GoQuest has remained green and didn't get the same paint job as Go Navigator.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Because the other 2 boats are in the spotlight compared to Quest, which is just there.
Yeah.
Outside of space community, almost no one sees it.
Right. Okay, so now we've got a booster arrival, and this is I'm guessing you're still at the pavilion spot, and this is when she just comes around. Where you're seeing just a little bit of Orlando Princess there. And,
leaning over at the fence again.
Yep. And this is man, when you're here for booster arrival, like, okay, so you can go up to the port anytime the booster's there, if it's standing up, and you can see it. You get a pretty good look at it. But really, arrival is so much better because you're so much closer to it, because that channel is really wide and it's about halfway across, and that's a good chance to get a good look at it. And of course, you get your best photos that way because you're half the distance to it. As opposed
especially
to
when it's going through the jetty.
Yeah, when you're out there. Yeah, because the jetty's up a little bit, so you can kind of see the deck a little. Although, you know what? I haven't been on the pier at Jetty Park for a a return. Well, I guess I've never seen a return of just read the instructions. That's going to be a little different because just read the instructions sits up a little bit higher.
It's only because it doesn't have the ballast tanks filled yet.
Oh, it's going to sit low.
Of course, I still love you can be up that high too if they want to. It's just they fill their tanks to sit low, so it's more stable and such.
Oh, okay.
But they're still working on just read the instructions, so they don't want that much more in the water. It's not worth it.
Right. Okay, yeah. So what was going on here with the wedge?
What we think happened was they had to move it over so that, of course, I Still Love You would fit. Because the wedge, if you look in other pictures, it was pretty close to just read the instructions.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
what's the purpose of this thing? Tell the people.
it's so that the barge is not directly contacting the deck and it can just slide up on it and not have to worry about damage to either oar.
And also, doesn't it kind of help maintain a distance because of course I Still Love You has the wings. Well, they both have the wings.
Yeah.
And if you go right up to the bank or the wall there with the hull, then your wing is going to be right there. And as tide goes and comes, then you're going to go up and down, and you might damage those wings on.
It's a more flexible way of docking it.
Yeah, and isn't it actually? It's not actually wedge shaped, right? Isn't it just sunken on one side?
I believe so, because I think when we saw just read the instructions one come in, we had no idea that was what it was.
Right, that's right, because it came in, and I know I have a friend, a good friend of mine, so I won't name him, but if he's watching, he's laughing at himself because he took a bunch of pictures of them bringing the wedge in because he thought it was just read the instructions for a minute, and he just was taking shot after shot after shot, and then he's like, wait a minute, that's not right. Because it's kind of a weird thing when things are really far away and they come closer. You're like, wait, that is not it. He just has a bunch of shots of that wedge being brought in by one of the tugs. That was funny. We had a good chuckle about that.
I don't have any pictures of it, so he's doing better than me.
Of the wedge or of the booster?
Yeah, the wedge.
Which one? You've been out there for one booster return, right?
Yes, at least.
Where did we go to Jetty? Where did we?
It was
go?
on my birthday, I thought, wasn't it? It was at the end of.
Oh yeah. We were at the same spot that I was at on this last one. Yeah, that's right. All right. So booster is docked, and from this photo, you can see the tugs are out of the way, and that's pretty much when it's over. That's actually in the time lapse that I showed here. We'll go to that spot in the time lapse, and you see him berthing. Of course, I Still Love You, and then right about the time those tugs leave, that's kind of when you already see people kind of drifting away. That's when people leave. Once the tugs are gone, that's when people start to leave, go get some lunch.
Yeah, all the tugs scurry away, and so do all the people.
Yep. There they go. And then you have random tourists coming in and seeing, and that's actually one of my favorite parts is when random people walk up and they're like, "What are you looking at?" Or even people that know what we're looking at, and then we get to kind of give them updates or what we're expecting and kind of go through the process, and it's always
be and then they ask before stuff comes, they're like, "Are you waiting for things? What are all the cameras for?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "This big rocket's coming in."
Yeah. Okay.
What's a rocket?
That's a pretty good shot of the underside, and you still got Octograbber underneath. Got some Merlins there. Very nice. Kind of a throwaway tweet of them standing next to a ladder. I don't know. What did you say?
Yeah,
you said it looked like they were building a fort. Yeah.
I'm guessing it was for wind protection for welding. Either that or there was something they wanted to hide from us.
Could be.
They're playing cards.
There's a lot of talk that goes on about things that are done on purpose to make it where we can't see certain things. It's like when they set it down on land, we couldn't. Our view was not as good as it typically is. Right.
They could definitely be doing a lot more to block us, though. So they're not doing that much against us.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think they really care. I mean, at this point, there's been so many photos and so much footage taken of the process that
the only time they really go out of their way to make us not be able to get photos is when stuff's broken. That's when they get sneaky.
But can you think of a time that that's been the case?
Arabs at center core. They brought it at night, try to get it off quicker.
Yep.
Go Navigator coming back after in-flight abort with the trunk. That was only on there for like that time at night when I saw it come in, and then it was basically gone like by morning.
Mm.
And then there's one really low-res picture from Elon. That's all that there was, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That center core one, because we still have yet to see a Falcon Heavy center core make it home. It's landed, but
all of it make it home.
Yeah, we have yet to see all of it make it home. And they were definitely coming in the middle of the night. Well, I say definitely, but probably on purpose to make sure that there were as few pictures taken as possible, and it was difficult to get those photos. That was one old Scott Manley used on his videos of mine that I got.
Actually, I thought of an alternate theory of why they came in at night.
Why?
Maybe they can't come in at night with a full outstanding booster, but with the booster falling over, there's less regulations.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Could be.
Because they don't have to worry about it falling on over and tipping and hitting boats or something if it's already over.
Because guess what? Yeah, it already fell over.
Worst case, they lose it in the water.
Okay, so here we move to Tuesday. So from Sunday to Tuesday. Now, it is kind of interesting that they didn't do anything on Sunday. They didn't lift it up off the drone ship, put it on land.
It's a day of rest.
Well, true, but the crews, my assumption is that the crews that do this, they're not the same crews that go out on the ocean, right? When the booster comes back, it's a whole, like, they go home. The people on the boats go home. And then
and that crane operator probably makes about $2,000 an hour on a Sunday.
An hour?
An hour. I'm not joking.
What does he make on a Monday?
On a Monday, he's probably making $400 an hour. To be one of those heavy lift operators like that, yeah, you get paid big bucks, and it's all union.
Wow.
Yeah, specialized too. You got
that's super specialized. Yes.
That makes the Tugs seem cheap as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Tugs are expensive, but everything in a shipyard's expensive, but it's meant to last too.
Is anybody watching chat? They're getting busy down there.
I've checked it occasionally.
I've got to keep track of this right here. So if there's anything worth bringing up, make sure you chime in. So yeah, Monday there was nothing doing. They did lift. So this is called what's good.
Harry saying CRS-16 must have been hard to hide.
Oh, the one that
the grid fins failed. They just landed in the water and they just kind of pulled it in.
Yeah, they pulled it in like in the middle of the day. I remember being at work and like everybody's out there getting to see it.
Yeah,
I got some pictures of that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I wanted to go see that so bad, but it just wasn't happening.
Did anybody get any shots of it being lifted up out of the water?
No, I got it floating in the water.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw any photos of it being lifted.
I want to say maybe Mike Seeley did. I think maybe, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so here is the lifting cap, and it's just another one of those indicators that steps are progressing. On Monday, we were out there hoping that they were going to lift the booster off the drone ship, and when I talked to Greg, he said that they had already lifted the cap up towards the top, but then set it back down. And I said, well, I'm going to head up there anyway. And so I got there, and they started lifting the cap. And it got up to basically like it was above the inner stage on the rocket. And then they just did not set it down. It was super windy that day, and I don't know if that was why. I assume that was why, because the next day they had it on there no problem. But
it could have also been a really minor issue with the cap, like a battery wasn't charged properly or something.
Yeah, because they ended up taking it down, and they like set it down, and then a bunch of dudes started working around it. Right? It was like they were looking at it and checking it out. Because this thing, it's not just like some clamps and a hook. There's actually more to it. I'm assuming they've got cameras on there to guide them. As far as like attaching it to the top. There's these lines with pulleys. These lines go down to the feet because the legs, while they are hydraulically pushed out. Uh-oh, what do we got?
It's just the pictures in the water.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is the CRS 16 booster. I don't know the number. Did you have the number in your tweet? No.
Was it CR16?
Yeah, it was CRS 16. I was looking for the booster number.
Oh no, I didn't have the booster number.
Oh yeah, man. Oh, I wanted to see that.
Yeah, I still don't understand why they brought it all the way back here. Why didn't they just scuttle it?
Because it's too close to the shore. I bet you don't want dead rockets out there this close to the shore.
Some diver is gonna be like, I want to go see it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I want a
true.
Merlin engine.
I forget that it was close to land. I
Yeah,
forget.
it was like less than a mile, 2 miles. What was it?
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Yeah, it was really close, I believe.
Let's see, back to here.
That was booster 1050, by the way.
Oh, 1050. Interesting, because the booster we're talking about is 1051. Yeah, so it's got pulleys. It's even got solar panels on top to keep those batteries charged. Maybe it had been the weather wasn't good, or maybe they left it in the shade and it didn't have a good opportunity to charge its batteries. But while the legs do push out hydraulically, they can't automatically pull themselves up. So they actually have I don't know if they retrofit the original cap. I think this is an all new one, but they put at the corners they have these lines that come down and attach to the very ends of the feet, and they use that to pull the feet up and secure it to the wall of the booster.
Now, is there a diagram or some kind of a video that shows the inner workings of how that cap actually works?
I thought you were asking me to draw a diagram.
No.
We can arrange for that.
No,
Like he got really excited for a second, like his eyes lit up.
MSP.
You want a diagram?
Am I drawing?
I couldn't possibly. No, I've not seen one. I would love to see one.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, I would not expect SpaceX to put that out. Just like they don't put out any real details about Octograbber. Like they don't really talk about it much. They'll say that they have a device that drives up under the booster and secures it, but they don't really talk about the details.
I mean, to normal people, those details are not important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
it's the thing that holds the rocket.
Good. It drives around. It's got tank treads.
See, that immediately makes it like 5,000 times more interesting.
Yeah, that it's got tank treads. Okay.
That it's a rocket tank.
All right, so here, so Kyle got a shot of the cherry picker going up. Unfortunately, it's on the other side, so we can't tell exactly how high they went. There's a shot of them right up here by the S in SpaceX, but that's only this high. We know they went up higher than that. I guess they just went up, grabbed the line, and then as they came down, they were pulling the line down with them.
It could have just even been guiding it, and they didn't go all the way up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They oftentimes you'll see them working around. There's like a panel here where there's a bunch of little like electrical ports or hydraulic ports or different things that they mess with. Like once they get it on the ground, they plug a bunch of stuff into it right here. So that's what these guys are doing. They're connecting up to the booster, and
connecting services is what that's called.
I would be really interested to see like what that is doing. Like they're like monitoring the health of the rocket even when it's like standing here in the port. And sometimes you'll actually hear the rocket make sounds. You'll hear it like let out like do like a venting event, right? Have you heard that? You've heard that before, right?
I haven't, no.
I don't think I have either.
You've never heard it go psh. I'm pretty sure I've heard it make those noises in the port.
I wonder if it only does that in the summer more, because you would think about the heat of the internal tanks, whatever's left in there heats up, more pressure. Maybe that's what they're releasing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because some of its structure is in having pressure, right? I don't know. I don't necessarily want to stand by
nearly
that.
as much as the Atlas does.
Yeah.
Old Atlases, that is, not new ones.
Yeah, the old stainless steel ones.
It looks like I'm sorry, I was checking my Twitter real quick. Looks like I'm not the only one that kind of noticed that about the when Blue Origin did their post today on Twitter, how it was a promoted tweet.
Oh, it was.
Yes, it was a promoted tweet. So Michael Baylor just said something about it.
About
as
it being
well.
promoted?
Yeah, it's about it being a promoted tweet.
Is that frowned upon?
Kind of more or less, yeah, for an aerospace company.
Huh. I mean,
Yeah, normally almost no one pays for advertising. It just does it itself.
Exactly.
Worth their advertisement.
Like if social media is working correctly in your favor, you should not need to promote your tweets. It should automatically be, oh, okay, this just went viral.
Yeah.
Right. Like SpaceX, I've never seen them do that.
Yeah.
Any of the other Rocket Lab, any of them. So the fact that Blue Origin just did that is kind of a head scratcher.
Well, I mean, SpaceX has fanboys. Blue Origin, not as much.
Yeah.
They have tons of money.
But we don't really need any fans for this. It's like you need the contractors look up who the providers are and do their own research. The fans don't matter.
Right. Although,
well, I think for the company wise, more people that are interested in them.
Fans do matter.
Yeah.
Besides
do
merch,
matter.
though, like it doesn't matter too much.
you want
gotta buy that.
It does
you gotta
matter
buy one of
because
those Blue
they
Origin
get all
hats.
their money from flying government contracts. The government's only going to have those contracts if there's a fan base that actually calls for it as a society.
Right. Yeah.
I have you know that this Blue Origin hat was a gift from a Blue Origin employee. Thank you very much.
Well, somebody has bought one.
Accepting gifts from the
Conflict of interest. Okay, yeah, back to because we're gonna get to that stuff, the Blue Origin and SpaceX and Dynetics and all that. We're gonna get to that. So let's get through this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how far.
Elon's
Oh man,
name.
we're already 45 minutes deep. This is nuts. Yeah, painful,
Balls to the wall.
excruciating detail. Leg one being lifted. There you go. It's going up.
What? And then I
got the play-by-play.
Another leg goes up.
This leg is now up.
Oh, there should be one more, right?
At least three.
All right.
There's at least three more.
3 more.
Yeah, look, there's leg number 2. So they went from this side, and then they did this side. Okay, you got it. So this side and then this side. Oh yeah, you can't see my mouse.
We can't see your mouth. Raising our imagination.
People in chat,
Imagination.
they can see it. Now they're up. You have 2 legs up. You see, it's 1 and then 2. Okay,
2 legs up.
2 legs up.
And
2 legs.
And then you have a 3rd leg going up. And the first 3 was pretty painless, right? They go up a little bit and then they stop, and then they go up a little bit more and then they stop.
It was hardly a pause for the first 3, and then the last one went up and down quite a few times. That one I think took well over an hour.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's show that.
You missed a little bit of it because that was one of the times that I forget if it was a battery or a card died. So you miss 1 or 2 times it goes up, but you get most of it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, Daryl, if you would have had some Amazon stock, you'd be loaded right about now.
Yeah.
God,
Well, it depends on how much stock. If you just bought one, then you're not loaded.
it's still it's pretty up there though.
Yeah, but never mind.
I thought this was interesting.
Well, if you bought it 20 years ago, yeah.
They're rotating the tires on Miss Tree.
Oh, is that was?
Nice.
Yeah,
Bumper tire.
Yeah,
We could not for the life of us tell if you were serious about that tweet or not. We're like,
good.
Checking the tread life.
Yeah. They're checking the well, look, man, you got to rotate the tires every.
Gonna help with their gas mileage.
Yeah. Like every 5,000 miles you're supposed to rotate your tires.
Mm-hmm.
but I think they might have literally been rotating the tires too, because it looked like that's actually what they were doing in some other shots besides this one. Yeah, turning them. I think they actually were rotating the tires. That's why we were so confused.
I mean, I could see where that would extend the life because the sun has an oxidizing
flat
effect.
spots.
Yeah.
Those 2 did something wrong, and they're like, Joe, Bill, go down and rotate the tires.
This is like a halogen fluid type thing.
Oh, we got some good
They
ones
also
on
have
the
welding
submarine,
gear, so I'm
too.
not quite sure what they're doing with that.
Do what?
Because I think that's tankish welding stuff, right?
Oh, I wouldn't know.
That could be acetylene.
And it looks like they might be wearing masks of some kind. I'd have to look closer at my other shots to really tell.
He's wearing a welding mask.
I figured it was like a chicken hat or something.
No. He's wearing a welding mask, and that's an acetylene torch he's got there.
Oh, okay.
No,
Or maybe they're welding.
So they're preparing to do some welds. Yeah.
no, they're practicing social distancing.
That they
do
are.
have that about 6 foot apart. They're pretty good on that.
All right, and then you've got other legs going up, and they're like Kyle was saying, like they went up a little bit, and then they would go down. They went up and down twice before they finally went all the way. Is that right?
They only went full all the way down that one time that's in the tweet, but then they wiggled a lot basically, and it was hard to keep track of that count. I think Ken counted 7 or 6 times or something like that, but I didn't even try counting.
Okay, look, SpaceX sometimes has a sense of humor. Maybe they were just playing the hokey pokey.
Okay, turn yourself around.
Yeah. Put your front leg in and your front leg out.
Put your right fin in.
I think what was probably happening. So you see these guys on the cherry picker here. Oh wait, you can't see my mouse. So you see, so you see the guys on the cherry picker. They're probably making sure that this hydraulic bolt
Piston.
goes back. That piston there goes back in correctly, and they probably had something going on with that. Is the reason they had to raise and lower it so many times.
My assumption,
maybe that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe that side hit a little bit harder or something. Maybe there's a little bit more debris from friction and everything on that side.
That might be the side that it was leaning towards too. We don't.
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
I mean, if there's a small bend, it's going to be hard to get it to go in there.
There's going to be some binding. Yeah, that's kind of been my assumption as to why there's been issues with folding the legs up. Because we thought when they first announced, we're going to start folding the legs up, we're like, okay, cool. And there's a new lifting cap. And it took them forever to actually do it. They would try and then would end up having to take the legs off.
Yeah.
So I think that they had to do some upgrades or something to make it where they wouldn't bind when they were.
That probably is definitely I can't see which orientation the booster is at, but I'm almost sure that that's the impact leg.
See, it's going to be sad when they start landing these things back at the pad. Like that's the overarching goal that Elon would like to go. And it's possible, but very improbable. But he wants to land them back on the pad so that they are where they need to be to launch again.
I don't think they're going to do it.
The Falcon will never do that.
No, not Falcon.
Not Falcon,
Starship,
but definitely Starships. That's on the books of something they really want to get down. They're practicing it with Falcon 9 by the orientation it lands. They're doing the research and actually experimenting with that orientation to get it down to where when it lands, it's in a precise orientation. If they can get it down with the Falcon and they're measuring it, that's why there's the big X that gives them a reference point, right?
Yeah.
So they're using. And it looks cool, right? Mm-hmm. So it gives them a reference point, and they're measuring, okay, what's the rotation on the rocket when it comes down so that they can work on that for Starship. Everything's kind of leading on to Starship, so it's great things. Speaking of Starship.
Oh, we got Starship to talk about here. Let's real quick
here. Before you go there, one last thing is, speaking of LZ1 and 2, and SpaceX being very secretive with their stuff, to my knowledge, there's no footage or pictures or anything of them processing a booster at LZ1 and 2 and how they get the legs folded up, how they get it out of there.
Yeah. I'm sure it's very similar. They probably just...
It's probably the same process they use here, just without the...
You just don't have to lift it off a barge.
Drone ship, yeah.
In fact, they maybe that's where the old yellow crane is. You know, because they used to lift it up with this yellow crane, and I wonder if that's where that's at now.
Well, how far is this from that landing zone? Because it would have had to been moved by land.
Driven, yeah. I mean, it can totally be driven over there. It's not that far.
Yeah.
It's just up there in the Space Force Station.
Space Force Station.
No pictures or videos or anything of that process at all.
Maybe
that'd be some really boring stalking, but we have to do it sometime.
Yeah, maybe we can do it from Exploration Tower. It'd be really hazy and hard to make out anything, but that'd be interesting to try.
Your best bet is to get a boat and go out there and watch.
Hey, at least
that's when you rent a very good lens for your camera.
Starfleet tours, we're looking at you guys.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
ain't doing no time lapse from a boat, but. You can
do
some,
get some still shots.
It would take a lot of stabilization, but you could do it.
If you could keep the boat faced in the right direction, it's like keep it facing.
Well, if the currents are going the right way, you might be able to anchor it in some way or double anchor. There's a bunch of random ways you can anchor boats to potentially keep it in the same place.
Oh, okay.
That'd be some footage that would do very well because nobody's gotten that footage before. I'm just saying.
Can we rent one of the ferry catches that are capable of precise precision or position keeping so we can use that for a time lapse?
Yeah, we'll just read the instructions. We'll try out the new thrusters. All right. Well, boosters down, and I'm pretty sure it's already been wheeled out of there too, because I think I saw that Ken
I believe so,
or
yeah.
maybe Mike Wagner or somebody.
Ken got some more pictures of them putting covers on things, and then I think U.S. Launch Report had something of it leaving. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, that is Mike Wagner, right?
Oh,
yeah. U.S. Launch
Report
so. That's Mike.
I think I saw a YouTube video, not a tweet. I forget.
That actually reminds me, we were not at the pavilion spot, the little park there. We were on the other side of Blue Points, and it was me and Ken and Teresa and Greg and I can't remember her damn name. But Mike Wagner was there, and he's like, "Well, I don't think they're gonna do anything else today, so I'm gonna head on and go get some lunch." And about the time he got to his car, they started lifting it, and it's just like this running joke. Like, if anybody leaves, that's when they're gonna start doing something. Like, we just need someone to leave so that they'll actually start working.
And that's why I just stay there the whole entire day.
Yeah.
Everyone else leave for me.
Yeah. Everyone please leave, but it's like one at a time, so you can get separate favors, from the gods.
The second lift before they tilted it, Ken got home right as they did that.
Oh yeah.
Like he left just a little bit too early.
A little too soon. And I thought this was neat. NASA Spaceflight did a landing bingo, and so we actually have the precise landing spot. It landed at J22, and that's based off where the center engine is, of course. So very close to the center, and that's acceptable. Good job, 1051. You did it again.
They should do this in 3D, so you have to guess where the tip of it's going to be. So if there's any lean, it'll move.
Ah, yeah, bonus. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about this announcement that NASA made. Old Jim Bridenstine made an announcement of for the human landing. Oh, what is it? Human landing system. What is it? It's HLS. Right.
Human landers for Artemis.
Yeah, but
okay. Hold on. HLS, Human Landing Systems. Okay, you were correct.
System. Okay. And I wanted to play this because this is just some NASA people talking about it, and then we can kind of go over what these look like. And I thought the picture of Starship, the render of Starship, was super interesting. So
it's super interesting. Yeah.
And we, the Artemis generation, are going there to stay. Those of us in blue flight suits, the start of the Artemis generation of astronauts, could not be more excited about contributing to our nation's goal of putting the first woman and the next man on the lunar surface by 2024.
We, NASA, have been partnering with U.S. industry in order to achieve the best of what each organizations bring. So without further ado, the companies are SpaceX.
Steve, we can see what you're doing with OBS.
SpaceX Design is a single-stage solution using their Starship.
Oh,
the
yeah, I forgot about that.
The proposal included in-space propellant transfer demonstration and uncrewed test landing. The second company is Dynetics, and Dynetics has many partners that they will be working with. It also has a very unique low-slung crew module, putting the crew very close to the lunar surface for transfer and access. Dynetics will perform a demonstration flight to verify key capabilities for its lander system. And the third team is the national team, with Blue Origin as the prime. The team's design is a 3-stage architecture consisting of an ascent, descent, and transfer elements.
It's like the old
With
lander.
this diverse set of architectures, NASA is confident in our nation's
did
ability
you see who else was
to
on the
perform
national
Artemis
team?
missions.
The landing on the moon in 2024 will be the most dangerous and complex flying task attempted by humans in more than 50 years. And it's only been done 6 times ever. That's why we're so excited about how to learn how to fly these landers so we can make that smooth touchdown on the lunar surface and do what we came for, lunar surface exploration.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo.
To the moon.
Excited. If they first off, if Blue Origin does not name their thing Blue Moon,
It is.
I
It
would
is
be-
Blue Moon. Yeah. Oh, dude, that's like 2 years old. Yeah, no, they announced.
So this
Blue Moon a
national
while
team
ago.
has Lockheed Martin on it. Lockheed Martin designed the LEM.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they definitely got some experience behind them.
That's like a legacy article essentially.
Yeah. So it's Blue, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and Draper. And Draper is maybe a company that is not as well known. I know that when I first heard about the national team a while back, I had never heard of Draper myself, but they're avionics, right?
Yeah.
So this is just kind of a quick look at all of them, but there's a little.
This is like the ULA of lunar spaceflight right here.
Yeah. Now there's this cool video that Blue Origin put out, and this shows you how their system's going to work. It's going to be a lot like the Apollo landing, where it's a descent module, an ascent module, and then the crew module. So the descent module is going to dock feet first to the descent. Wait, let's see. What would that be? That's just like, it's like a braking stage or something, because they're going to use this stage here to slow themselves down enough to like be close, and then that's going to detach. You'll see here in a second. Yeah, so that detaches, and I'm wondering if they're at a low enough velocity that thing is going to actually crash. I hope not. I hope their plan isn't to crash that thing into the lunar surface every time they do this. I'm thinking because the gateway is going to be in that near rectilinear halo orbit thing, and so that's a highly elliptical orbit. And so I'm thinking that stage there is just to
Perhaps that's
circularize, to bring that apogee down to like closer to the surface, so they don't have to burn all the fuel for landing on doing that.
Yeah, I still don't like that they're leaving the descent stage on the surface. I think that like we've evolved past that. Personally, I think we should like. I kind of like the SpaceX design, but I'm kind of a fanboy at this point. But some things I did notice about like this thing and what you were talking about, like that extra stage, perhaps their idea with that is that's going to be like the escort stage for when they actually do come from Gateway instead of coming from Earth. Mm-hmm. So that'd be like the escort stage on their way to the moon, and then the lander does its thing after it detaches. So maybe the escort stage heads back to Gateway at that point.
All right.
As long as Lockheed Martin doesn't work on the oxygen tanks.
Ooh, hey, yo, low blow.
It is time for a diagram.
Ooh, diagram.
Yeah, Miss Payne is coming out.
Yep. All right. So
Yay.
This is the moon, and it's the moon, because see, it's gray.
Oh, you made it gray. I was going to ask you to do that.
Now it is gray. Okay, so that near rectilinear halo orbit is. Oh no, I'm still gray. Okay, well let's just. Okay, let's just say it's like this. This isn't perfect, but this is okay. So this is kind of what they'll be doing. It's got a really high apogee and a really low perigee. So if you want to land on the moon, you can do two things. You can start your landing burn like way up here, and then you're coming in at this like crazy velocity, and you got you got one shot, so you kind of want to give yourself options. But I think what they're going to do with that other stage is they're going to get down to to the bottom, down to this perigee here, and they're going to burn there to circularize the orbit, which is to bring this down so their orbit's more like this, and then they're set up for landing. Does that make sense? Is that kind of what anybody else is thinking? I know.
Yeah, I could see that, but I'm just thinking, what are they doing with that stage afterwards?
Well, what I'm thinking, and this is, I guess, feeding my hope that they're not just going to crash it, is because when they do that, so they'll bring this down, and then that stage and the lander, they're both still in orbit, and then the stage can separate, the lander can do its thing, and then that stage can reboost itself back up to where the gateway is. And then can go redock with the gateway, refuel,
Yeah,
and hopefully
absolutely.
be used again. I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Right?
Seth said it's a transfer element.
Transfer element. Thank you, Seth.
Seth with the save.
That's kind of what I'm hoping they're going to do, because that makes sense to me. And that way you don't have to crash the thing on the surface every time. Because if we're going to be doing this sustainably, we really don't want to make a habit of crashing things on the surface.
Yeah, there's probably going to have to be regulations about crashing things on the surface soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So let's see what. So that's Blue Moon's bid there. This is just a still picture or a render of Dynetics thing, just so, because it was in a video before, so you get a better look at it. And I like that it's got that wide stance, and like she was saying in the video, that the crew module is down lower, so they just have a couple steps out before they're down on the surface. And it's wider. It's just, it's more stable.
It's wider, and it's single stage.
And if I was playing Kerbal, this is the kind of thing that I would want to land. I mean, I've tried the like Apollo style, like kind of tall stack with the narrow footprint. This is the way to go.
Yeah, this would be the way to go.
Yeah, I like that.
It's wide. It's like a linebacker.
Yeah. Take your linebacker to the moon.
We're going to call that the lunar linebacker.
I mean, there's no atmosphere to compete with. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. Now, of course, we all know about Starship. I'm just super stoked that NASA is willing to give them the nod on Starship, because, it's still in development, and there's been some failures. It's gone well.
The other two are still in development.
It's gone well.
They haven't done anything.
That's true. But it's like, I don't know. It's like, it seems like, even though SpaceX is always like accomplishing the things that they set out to do, there's still some doubt in the industry about Starship. My only issue with this, it's white.
Yeah, well, they did say it's going to be a specialized Starship just for lunar missions.
Yeah, but it's supposed to.
It might be better for long-term heating if they're going to potentially have the option to leave it on the surface as a habitation or something like that too.
Well, wouldn't that shiny metal, stainless steel, wouldn't that be more reflective than white?
Yeah, that does have the albedo, but you have to think about dark too when you're on the lunar surface.
Oh, okay.
You're dark for 15 days as well.
Right. That's true. The thing that I thought was super interesting.
14, sorry.
Well, a couple things, actually. The reason that I tabbed this tweet. One thing that I think is really interesting is you guys remember talking about the issue of landing on the moon, and if you use these engines when you're coming down, you're going to be literally putting dust into orbit. And it's going to come right back around, and it's going to hit you whenever that dust, it's going to be raining dust that you just blew out. It's going to go out into orbit around the moon, and then it's going to return to its point of origin. That's just...
You're making a mess.
Yeah, it's going to be bad. You're going to be pelted by a bunch of lunar rocks and stuff. And it's like, oh, there you go. Put your thrusters at the top. And I think that's what this is. I think that's what this render is demonstrating is, maybe they'll use the engines to kind of slow themselves down, but when they get within a certain range, they'll just use these, I guess, RCS thrusters towards the top to bring
those almost look like the Super Dracos, honestly.
Yeah, and I'm wondering. Oh, and I pulled up.
That might be a new lunar engine that they're going to develop.
How much of a difference could that actually make, though?
Well, because it has more of an opportunity to spread out. So the energy is less because as it exits the nozzle, it just continues to spread out. So even though it's going to be pelting the surface, it's not like the engines that are like
on the bottom,
like bam, right there at the surface, because there's no aerodynamics. There's no atmosphere to slow the particles down to, to keep it from blasting the ground. But the fact that they have that opportunity with that extra height to spread out, then the energy is going to be less.
Now, long term, that might actually be more problematic. Once they have dedicated concrete landing pads and such, it's going to spread out it more compared to if they just had the engines on the bottom going where they're going to hit the concrete.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily concrete, but
or whatever it is. Yeah. Well, that was something that we had talked about. Is like, well, it's going to be funny because SpaceX is going to need like Blue Origin or somebody to go to the moon and build them a landing pad. Otherwise, they're going to be throwing moon rocks into orbit. But it's interesting. And this got Declan from Flight Club going. He was asking, how deep can the Raptor's throttle? How much ballast does Starship need? How fast can the legs impact before damaging suspension? And that is an interesting question. Like, how far can it fall? And he actually does a little bit of math here. Because the question is like, how soon before touchdown can you just cut the engines to reduce, throwing all that debris everywhere? And according to this tweet that he put out, he was asking, can it, if the legs can take 5 meters per second on impact, then it can stop 8 meters above the ground and fall from there. If they can take 10 meters per second impact, then they can stop burning 31 meters above the ground, and then 20 meters per second. If they can handle that, then they can stop 123 meters above the ground. This is taking into account the gravity of the moon and the mass of Starship. So that's interesting. We don't know. He's posing this question, and who knows? By now he may have an answer. But it's just, Starship is big and awesome, but the question is how to get it down to the surface without screwing everything up.
10 meters per second is 22 miles per hour.
Okay.
People might not want to take that. If the people in there, that might be a little bit harsh for the people.
Well, if the
rocket,
if their legs are built, to absorb that and soften that, then maybe. If they can,
Yeah, but the rocket's going to be meant to take G's in the opposite direction, potentially. Because normally the G's are from the engines pushing the other way. Hitting the ground
it would still be
decelerating the other way.
Still be downward.
Would it? Oh yeah, I guess it would.
Yeah, you touch down, and then it's like it's like your suspension on your car. It takes the change in velocity and spreads it out over time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if the legs can take that, then the ride wouldn't be so bad. Now, what's 20 meters per second in miles per hour?
I didn't check that. I'll check that quick.
Give them time.
44.7.
Yeah. See, that's like feels like you're getting fast. Yeah. I don't know. They're figuring. It's one of the cool things that they're working on with NASA is the landing on the moon and how to deal with debris and stuff. That's one of the things that SpaceX is working on with NASA. So hopefully they're learning something. That might be why they have this render that's like, hey, let's put the thrusters at the top. And I wonder what those thrusters would be. Would they just be? Oh, you're muted, Jordan.
My bad. Thrusters are up at the top. Yeah, man. Thrusters are at the top. I'm not seeing any kind of like landing system. These little white protruding, they look like suspension legs.
Yeah.
They're not very large.
But that's quite a bit of travel right there, though. I mean, you figure, as big as this thing is, that's, I don't know, 2 people standing on top of each other.
Yeah, that's probably about 10 to 12 feet, 10, maybe 15 tops.
Yeah. So that's quite a bit of travel, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you put a big enough spring in there, it's not gonna be that bad of a landing.
Yeah.
For takeoff, though, the engines need at least a little bit above the ground, so they're not shooting debris back and up at themselves potentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Notice they're also recessed. It looks like probably 10 to 15 feet up into the bottom of the rocket there.
Mm-hmm.
If we're just judging off of the length of these white landing legs.
And one of the interesting things is there's no flaps and there's no heat protection, so this isn't intended to come back to Earth.
No, it's not. Maybe the crew compartment at the top, but the rest of it doesn't look like it. And if I'm looking at this correctly, it looks like there's at least 2 different size engines inside that octaweb.
Yeah, that's a thing that has been announced, but I think what people are pointing out, and I don't remember well enough to have noticed this myself, but originally in the renders that we've seen so far, they had the vacuum engines on the inside ring and then the sea level engines on the outside. So sea level, just for those that don't know, sea level is usually a narrower nozzle, and then the vacuum, that means you're out in space. These are nozzles that are optimized for being in vacuum, and it's all to direct the flow of energy in the right direction.
Yeah.
Right. So you need a longer nozzle with the vacuum engines, because as soon as they leave the end of the engine bell, that plume wants to spread out, and anything that's going left or right, that's anything that's not going directly behind you, that's energy that's lost. So they're trying to make sure to contain as much energy as possible by directing it straight behind them. And you're still going to lose some, but they're more efficient by having those bigger engine bells.
Clubby in the chat said this is cargo. If you guys watched Everyday Astronaut video, you would know.
Oh yeah, that just came out today, right? I do need to watch that for sure. He was actually holding out on putting that out because of today's announcement. But is this just cargo? Because this is the human landing system.
Why are there so many windows if it's cargo?
True that.
Yeah, cargo doesn't need to see out.
I'm just going by the chat.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Now that's interesting. It could be that this is just the cargo version, so they don't need to take them back, or it could be that they're going to fly up these starships that are just for lunar landing. Because remember, part of the Artemis program is that the astronauts are going to fly on Orion. They're not flying on Starship. This isn't about getting people to the gateway. This is about getting people down to the surface of the moon. So I think that as the plan is right now, you're probably looking at having some starships go up and park at Gateway, and they use those as their landers. Then they shuttle back and forth and refuel. I don't think they're using this to go from Earth to the moon and back. Just they launch
There's a chance that NASA won't even trust their astronauts on a Starship, and they might force them to take a Dragon to Starship once it's already in orbit.
Could be, yeah. I mean, at some point, as long as Starship is successful and doesn't completely, fail in every way, eventually they'll be willing to put astronauts on it. But it's going to be a while, I think. Let's see. Anything else about this? Because I think. Let's see. I mean, this is kind of Starship related. You guys probably all know this because this was like after the show last week. Serial number 4 of Starship passed the cryogenic nitrogen test. There was not methane in there, but it serves the same purpose because they chilled it to some crazy cold temperature, loaded it up there, and it actually survived the test. This is the first one. The first of the Starship, like the serial numbers, like not counting Starhopper, of course, to actually pass this test. So this is pretty exciting. And they are currently planning on Friday night doing the static fire. Not lifting off, but static fire. When was the, you said they were going to do a hop. And
yeah,
there was a date.
The hop that I saw was for the 20th.
20th on the hop.
20th on the hop.
Let's go do the hop.
The hippity hop.
And here's our buddy Space Padre. He's got some pictures of preparations for the static fire, and these are from today, I think. Yeah, this is today's tweet. And the window, look at this window. It's middle of the night again. So 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. I guess now that the residents are all gone, they can just go through the night, So, if you're not already following Space Padre and Boca Chica Gal, well, something's wrong with you.
Give them a follow.
Give them that follow.
I wonder if they want to make the test harder to photograph, and that's why they're doing it at night.
Could be.
Yeah, maybe in
Sounds
case
about
something
right.
goes wrong.
Yep. That's it.
And to close out, I was just gonna let this video run. It's this cool video that was put out of this is Bob Benkin doing some just some training in the buoyancy lab. What is it called? The zero buoyancy. What's the name of this pool?
Neutral Buoyancy
Neutral.
Laboratory.
Thank
It's
you.
on the screen.
I can't read that.
It's called the expensive swimming pool.
It's right here. Look, it's right here, y'all. Yeah. So they're getting ready to go up for. Hey, you watch it with that judgmental laugh.
Isn't it the world's largest indoor pool too?
Yeah.
Is it?
It is.
Or like gallon wise?
Laps.
I mean, there's one, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like ridiculously deep, and it's used for like deep sea diving training and stuff.
Yeah, it's 133 meters.
Yeah.
It's in like Sweden or Norway or somewhere like that.
Yeah. It's like crazy deep.
I can't remember the name of it. It's got like a pretty cool name though.
Yeah.
Dude,
The wave.
spacewalking. Now Benkin has spacewalked before.
Mm. Yeah, he's of Bob and Doug, he's the only one that's going to be doing a spacewalk, I'm pretty sure. Doug will be inside just offering support.
Yeah.
cheering
And what
him on.
they're going to be up there for 2 to 3 months. There's actually not a solid plan for how long they're going to be up there.
Yeah, the plan is basically bring him back a month before Crew 1 is ready, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was Doug, I'd be like, man, I want to do a spacewalk too, man.
Right.
And while they're there, Benkin is actually commander.
While they're there?
Yes.
Because Doug is
He's
the captain or
Yes, Doug is the commander of the spacecraft, but Benkin is the joint operations commander. So once they are there, he is in charge.
Ah, okay.
Ooh.
Interesting. Who gets to grab the flag?
I
guess it'd be Doug because he was the last one. Because it was him and Chris Ferguson that were on the last shuttle flight, Atlantis.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, it would be appropriate that he's the one that gets to grab the flag. That's going to be a neat thing. We've been waiting for that for a while.
Oh, well, we get to see it in less than a month now.
Less than a month. We are within a month. Okay, so tomorrow, everybody should totally be tuning in on these press briefings. There's multiple press briefings tomorrow. Starting at 11, you got Jim Bridenstine with Kathy Loiters, Kirk Shireman, and Gwen Shotwell. These are some familiar faces. If you've ever watched these press briefings before, you'll recognize them. They're kind of high up in the NASA game. That's at 11. Make sure all you got to do is just tune in. Get on YouTube and search for NASA TV. It'll come right up. These are all Eastern time. So 11 a.m., that's 3 p.m. UTC, and adjust accordingly. At 12:30, you're going to see Steve Stitch, who's Deputy Manager of Commercial Crew. Zeb Scoville, which is the NASA Demo 2 Flight Director. And then Benji Reed, that's a SpaceX guy. Got to ask a couple questions when he was speaking the first NASA social I did. He's the Director of Crew Mission Management. And then 2 o'clock, this is when you're going to actually have Bob Benkin and Doug Hurley in the press briefings. And I'm assuming that it's going to be, all the regulars calling. I'm hoping, even though, as far as I know, nobody's gotten their media acceptance emails or anything, but I'm hoping that at least like Chris G, Ken Kramer, what's his name? Bill Harwood.
Matthew Jordan.
He's going to be right up in there asking questions. I hope they have some reporters in there asking questions.
Well, here it says at 3:30 they're doing round robin interviews.
Well, I guess you probably would have had to have gotten an email to be a part of that.
Probably, yeah.
We did not get that email, folks.
Negative.
The only emails I've gotten is, we're not sure what we're doing. We'll let you know. All right, so I think that's going to be a show. Anybody else got anything they want to throw in? I know that I want to alert people to Kyle's Twitter. And also his website. I'm guessing you're selling photos on your website, Kyle M Photo. So you see something you like, go to his website.
Which I did not know that the other day when I was giving a shout out to everybody. I was like, "Sorry, Kyle, I don't know what you got going on, man. My bad."
To be fair, that's fairly recent that I've actually had any of that up.
Okay.
Like probably post quarantine stuff. Even I started setting that up.
Yeah, I had no idea. I was like, "Oh, my bad, man."
Also, hey, I noticed, Kyle's sitting here rocking his 9 subscribers. I mean, that's cool. But how about everybody in chat go over here to Kyle_M_photo on YouTube and give him that subscribe.
It was 4 subscribers like a week ago.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, do that before you leave.
It's about to be 11, dude. 11.
Yeah. I think it already is 11. I think you just haven't refreshed that page in a while.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, because I subscribed with
Yeah, it's 11 on my page. I haven't refreshed in the start.
Yeah.
I told you.
All right, and then
it's 12.
Yeah, make sure you follow him on Twitter because he's definitely one of the reliable port stalkers. Because sometimes he'll be the only one up there. Kyle_M_photo again. Let's see. The other thing, Becca and Matt Cutshaw are going to be on Rapid Unscheduled Discussions on Monday night. That's Seth and Daryl going to be on their show. So tune into that. Yep, I'll be in chat because now that I know there's not a launch next week, I'll just have my typical Monday, Tuesday off, and I'll be right there, giving them a hard time. All right, I think that's it. If let's see, I haven't looked at chat in a minute. Let's see, okay, I need a link. I search it up, I can't find them. I was able to just search for Kyle_M_photo. Let me.
Yep, that's what I did. And
I did it without the underscores, and I found it immediately.
Oh, really? Kyle M Photo.
He's up to 15 now.
Oh yeah.
Moving on up
to the east side.
Oh, 16.
There you go. Good job, guys.
Yo.
All right, cool.
That's
and
awesome.
You know what? Also, Matt, this is my promise to you. I'm gonna add you to the bottom down here. I just realized today our names down here with our Twitter handles. I have not added you down here, and I need to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there you go.
You're part of the team.
All right. Okay.
I like being part of a team.
All right. So that's the show. Thank you, chat. Appreciate you guys being here, and we'll see y'all next week.
Shutdown sequence initiated. Shutting down.